I grew up with my mom. My dad and my mom, things didn't work out. As an adult, I look at my father and I say, bro, I don't know what happened, but you my father and I love you.
Wow.
I don't know what happened. I wasn't there.
Wow.
But I'm gonna tell you this, growing up, the one thing I knew I wanted to do, and this is not about my father, this is about what I wanted to do, is I wanted to be a father to myself.
Wow.
And so one of the things that's actually happening in our culture, which you're now starting to see in our politics, is the reinvigoration of black families with younger black men and black women. And that is also helping to breed the revival of a black middle class in America. You see, during Jim Crow, the black family was together.
That's right.
During Jim Crow, more black people were not just conservative, because black people always have been conservative minded, but more black people voted conservatively. And then HEW, Lyndon Johnson, and then you go down that road, and now we are where we are. What's happened in America the last 10 years, and I say it because it's my contemporaries, it's Wesley's contemporaries, you're starting to see more black people be married in homes, raising kids. It's when you home with your wife raising your kids, and then you look at the world, you're saying, now wait a minute, time out. This does not look right. How can I get something to my kids? It goes back to the conversation of generational wealth. Not just having a job, generational wealth.
Oh yeah, it's time. Welcome to Dino Reacts. And us black Republicans, we are getting together. Look at them trying to miscrew my man's words. I know exactly what he meant and what he was talking about. We are now living in a society where 74% of black men are raised in single mother households, and during Jim Crow, it was 74% of black families together. I know what he's talking about. There were atrocities then, but that's not what he meant. So as I said, you want to know who Byron Donalds is? Well, I got an interview for you that you might like. So as always, let's get after
Hello, everyone. My name is Kat Oriel with Forbes Breaking News, and today I'm here at the first Congress Cognac and Cigars event in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, with Congressman Wesley Hunt and Byron Donalds. Thank you so much for having me today, Congressman.
Thank you for having us.
Of course. So, can you tell me, what's the purpose of this event? Why are we in Pennsylvania, a state pretty far away from the two that you represent? And also, why cognac and cigars?
So Byron and I are from the free states of Texas and Florida. We lead the union, and Pennsylvania is a swing state. It's a state that President Trump has got to win in order for us to win here in November. And what we've realized is that President Trump is doing remarkably well amongst the black male vote across the country. We are polling the best that we've seen in decades. And so what we've realized is this: we have to go fish where the fish are. We have to go take the Republican message to the black community, because as I've said dozens and dozens of times, black issues are American issues. And if we can distill it out in a way that's very simple, what's happening at the border is a travesty. People hate what's happening with the inflation in this country. People are not feeling safer than they were when President Trump was in office. These are very basic American type values that we are all owed as being citizens here. And so I asked Byron to do this. He is one of my best friends in Congress. He is one hell of a leader in the halls of Congress. And the fact that he's willing to join us, along with the great Michelle Tafoya as well, later on, you will see her. I got to tell you, it's an honor to be here. It's an honor to be fighting for our cause, but it's taking common sense Republican conservative values to the black community, and that's why we're here.
And the funny part about it is a lot of black men are conservative. It's just that there's a manipulation of conservatism and Christianity in the hood to be like, I don't know, it's kind of out of alignment. It's where a lot of men are not really able to tackle the leadership roles they need to because of that out of alignment. You know what I'm saying? We can get into that more later, but I'm really happy about them doing that, because there's a lot of us here. It's just that we can't get together. Whenever we galvanize under the true beacon of Christianity, whenever we believe in Jesus as it is from the Old Testament, we get a lot of flack back, because I can only speak for California, but black churches out here do not practice the Bible the way they're supposed to. They manipulate it to their own teachings to it so it can embrace certain different elements of society, specifically wokeism, that doesn't necessarily align with Christian principles or the Old Testament practices of the Bible. It's completely out of whack. And so to see these two men, two married men, two strong black men, to take the time to come and show black men the vision of leadership that is necessary, it makes me proud, and it helps me understand that, there's hope for black conservatives out there. We're not as lone as we seem, and since we have decided not to embrace wokeism, we're not crazy.
Rep. Donalds, what inspired you and motivated you to join in on this event today?
At my core, I've always been very active in politics, not just sitting behind the scenes and pushing buttons on Capitol Hill, or even when I was in the state level at Tallahassee. It's about getting out and seeing people directly. It's about building relationships. I think on the campaign trail, especially when you get in the heated campaigns, people say, well, what's your outreach? No. Outreach is not what we're doing. This is full engagement.
Let's go.
This is relationship building. This is taking the common sense approaches of conservatism and explaining it to people who typically don't vote Republican, and say, this is who we are. This is who we stand for. Here's our backgrounds, and we'll come to you. Like, you don't have to turn on the TV. You don't got to go to YouTube to see what I think. I'll come sit with you. Now, to cognac and cigars, I'm a connoisseur myself. So I got no problem sitting in here and having a drink and having a smoke and just talking to issues, whether it's politics,
I'll be back.
whether it's basketball, whether it's just life and the building blocks of success, and how you work your way through the trials and tribulations that come to us all. And I think that's why I'm here. That's why Wesley's here. Last thing I'll say, President Trump is doing a great job, better than any Republican that has
modern
run
history
when it comes to black men. But polling in June is one thing. Execution in November is another. And so I like where we are, but you got to get out into areas. You have to be in Philly. You have to be in other cities and say, you know what, here we are. Here's what we're about. And if you always do what you've always done, which is voting for Joe Biden and the Democrats, you're going to always be where you've always been. Right. More inflation and not getting ahead and wondering why things aren't working out.
Mm-hmm. And I got to say, I firmly believe in the movement of MAGA, of Make America Great Again. And I want to see the more black men get behind the understanding of that's what it's about. It's not about old school Republicanism or Democrat. It's about making America great as a collective. And I wish that minorities could see through that, instead of letting mainstream media boggle down this message with our opposition to illegal immigration. I don't know why everybody's not behind it, but that's really how they're really pushing the racist cards against these beautiful, handsome, fucking strong black men right here. I'm very happy that they're willing to, like he said, to engage, to go where nobody wants to go. Man, come hang out here. I missed the Trump rally in California. Oh, I really wanted to go, but I work. I have to work. It's expensive to live out here in California. Oh, man, I wish I could have went to that rally. Oh, I missed the San Francisco. Man, I missed it.
Amen.
Well, you've mentioned inflation, the border. What are the issues that black men especially care about right now?
Oh, man. I'm going to do the first one, but I'm passing it to you.
Go ahead.
Generational wealth.
Yeah.
This is more than just having a job. This is more than just saying, okay, my kids have an opportunity to go to school and make something of themselves. It's more than just saying, oh, you get to protect your right to vote, because guess what? Ain't nobody stopping a black man from voting in the United States of America in 2024. It ain't happening. It's about, can I build generational wealth for me and for mine? Can I have something I can move on to the next generation? Can I set my kids up to basically build their lives on my shoulders? That's what this is about. And I think that's why you're seeing black men, and really men in general, but black men in particular, are starting to have that their eyes are turning, saying, okay, we need better policies and better ideas that are going to help us excel to new heights.
He is spot on, and you cannot build generational wealth when you live in paycheck to paycheck. It really is just that simple. 4 years ago, we were not living paycheck to paycheck, and now we are. And I think people are realizing that, especially black men, that we want to get back to that. And how do we build that wealth for our families? How do we live just in a better way? Somebody said earlier today, and that's what the Democratic Party has done a very good job of, is bringing up racism a lot. And I'm going to tell you something. Byron and I aren't slaves, and nobody that's living today is a slave owner. We have moved on. And the idea that we are sitting here right now from majority white districts, the both of us, as strong black men, is supposed to tell you that we are living Dr. Martin Luther King's dream. We are literally being judged not by the color of our skin, but by the content of our character. So stop that. So what's in the best interest of our families from a policy standpoint? Easy is the Republican Party.
Yeah. Well, it's pretty wild to me that I'm looking at 50% of the black male Republicans in Congress right now, which is, doubled.
So,
So there used to be 2 in the last Congress. Now there's 4.
Yes.
So talk to me about your personal experience. Like you said, what is it like being 2 of the top male Republicans, black male Republicans in Congress right now? And how are you using that experience to target a new set of voters that haven't been tapped before?
Honestly, sometimes it feels like you're pioneers. You know, before I came in, you had JC, you had Alan West. So there was you always had you had Mia Love. You always had a black representative in Congress. When I came in, the thing that I was so happy about was that Burgess Owens out of Utah won his race too. Because it can't just be, oh, well, they have one black person. Look at our diversity picture. I'm not interested in that. It's Burgess is here. Next Congress, Wesley and John, now they join us. You still have Tim in the Senate. And now it's about really building that out. So I don't look at it in terms of you were 2 and now you're 4. I look at it as we're building.
Right.
And we're demonstrating to the country that Republican ideals aren't white versus black. Republican ideas, number 1, are common sense. Number 2 is about helping everybody have that green.
That's right.
Because the biggest separator in life a lot of times isn't the color of your skin, it's the color of what's in your wallet.
That's right.
And if you can have that, right, with the right mindset, the right skill sets, and the right culture moving your country, everybody can be successful.
But where has the disconnect been? Historically, why do you think that the Republican Party has had a hard time winning over black voters, male black voters especially?
You want to take that one?
Yeah, of course.
Go ahead.
No, of course. And so, I grew up in a very conservative home. My parents grew up in a segregated South. They were born and raised in New Orleans. They met at Southern University, went to a historically black college and university. That's where they met. My parents are some of the most conservative people you ever meet in your life. But if you talk to my uncles, my parents' generation, they're all Democrat. And what do? They say, well, we're all Democrats, ergo, y'all have to be Democrats. And here's why. And they carry that from generation to the next generation without recognizing that the generations have changed. The needs of the generations have changed. Society has changed tremendously. I think out of here when I talk, you will hear me talk about my great-great-grandfather. My great-great-grandfather was born on a plantation. My brother, sister, and I all went to West Point. We all served our country. We all, at one point, were in Baghdad at the same time fighting for this country as the great-great-grandson and great-great-grandchildren of slavery. So don't tell me that the issues that were back in the 50s and 60s are the same issues now, because they're not. Now, that takes guys like us to step up and say, don't just do it because your mama said so, or because your daddy said so. Things have changed, and here's why. And then now people are looking around there realizing this is not about race anymore. It's not. This is about wealth. This is about the economy. This is about living day to day and putting food on the table. We've come a very long way in this country. Are we perfect? No. Have we solved everything? No. Is there a panacea? No. But if you're going to tell me that me sitting here, right here with you, and thinking about where my dad was, where he grew up, because he was born in 1949. His 75th birthday is this year. He's alive and well. The Civil Rights Act was passed in 1964. My dad never spent a day in school with a white person. And then meanwhile, his son is the congressman for a majority white district that President Trump would have won by 30 points. What does that tell you? So this is the message now with the fresh start that we can now say, look, we understand that was the past. This is what we have now. Democrats want to take us back, and we want to move forward and build on that growth that we have seen for the past 3 generations.
Now, looking toward the 2024 election, I want to talk about President Trump and his messaging for GOP black male voters. So what do you think how has he been able to win over the support of black voters, especially? I believe in 2020, he had about 8% of the black vote, about 12% or more of the black male vote. So,
as you can see, Wesley Hunt and Byron Downs, they're pretty much onto something. And I would love to have the opportunity to be able to meet these men and let them know about my journey, leaving the Democratic plantation and becoming a conservative and joining the MAGA movement. Because it's important for black men like me who are kind of like lost in the liberalness of California and kind of ostracized to meet men like that and define my culture out here so I can find my role models. It's the same thing as being a Christian and following Jesus. Jesus is my role model to be the best person I can be in my life. But when it comes to being MAGA or being a Republican or conservative, I'm looking at men like Wesley Hunt and Byron McDonald's as my leadership to show me how to carry myself in a way that I can be embraced into the Republican Party, into the MAGA movement, with my love for Jesus Christ. And I'm very happy about that. But that was just part 1. Part 2 will be coming soon. Ooh, here we go again. Thank you guys again for watching Dino Reacts. And as always, if you like my content, like, comment, and subscribe. And always, chef's kiss. Mwah.